Have you ever felt a strange vibe from a friend right after sharing good news? That little shift in their eyes, the forced smile. This is a story about that. It's about Leo, an aspiring writer, and his two closest friends, Maya and Ben. They were the trio, inseparable since college, or so Leo thought. Leo had been pouring his heart and soul into his first novel. 4 years, he'd been writing late into the night, fueled by cheap coffee and a relentless dream. Maya, an artist with a fiery spirit, and Ben, a pragmatic financial analyst, were his biggest cheerleaders. "You're going to be the next big thing," Leo, Maya would say, splashing paint on a canvas. "Just run the numbers. Your talent is a solid investment," Ben would add, only half. Their support was the bedrock of his confidence. He shared every draft, every rejection letter, every flicker of hope with them. The struggles were real. Landlords weren't impressed by unfinished manuscripts. Leo worked odd jobs: barista, dog walker, bookstore clerk, anything to pay the bills and keep his writing time sacred. There were moments of crippling self-doubt. Nights he'd stare at a blank page, the cursor blinking like a mocking eye. During one particularly low point, after a string of harsh rejections, he almost gave up. He called Maya and Ben, ready to throw in the towel. They rallied around him. "Don't you dare stop," Maya insisted. "This is just part of the process, the climb," Ben reasoned. Their words were the life raft he clung to. He kept writing. Then, one rainy Tuesday, the email arrived. A major publishing house wanted his book. Not just wanted it. Te lo bed italiano. A 6-figure advance. A multi-book deal. It was everything he had ever dreamed of, and more. His hands trembled as he read it. He had to tell Maya and Ben. They were the first people he thought of. "Ekaded?" Tim, his voice cracking with emotion, and arranged to meet at their favorite old pub. He could barely contain his excitement, picturing their joyful reactions. The celebratory drinks, the "we knew it all along" speeches. He imagined the hugs, the shared tears of happiness. This wasn't just his victory, it was theirs, too. They had been in the trenches with him. He arrived at the pub, his heart thumping a triumphant rhythm. Maya and Ben were already at their usual booth. He slid in, beaming, and before they could even ask, he blurted it out. "I got it! I got the book deal! A big one!" A beat of silence hung in the air, thicker than the pub's smoky haze. It was just a second, but in that second, Leo saw something he'd never seen before. On Maya's face, a flicker of... was it envy? Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Wow, Leo," she said, her voice a little too flat. "That's incredibile." Ben cleared his throat, adjusting his tie. "A 6-figure advance, you say? That's fantastic. You'll need a good financial advisor." His response was practical, as always, but it lacked the warmth, the genuine thrill Leo had expected. The air grew tense. The celebration he had envisioned was replaced by a strange, uncomfortable quiet. "Aren't you guys happy for me?" Leo asked, the beaming smile fading from his face. "Of course, we are," Maya said quickly, a little too defensively. "It's just a lot to take in. Everything's going to change now, isn't it?" That was the word. Change. Leo had been so focused on his own dream coming true that he had considered how it might affect the dynamic of their friendship. In the following weeks, the distance grew. Maya became evasive. She was always too busy in her studio to hang out. When Leo visited her once, unannounced, he saw his book deal announcement in a magazine on her coffee table, flipped over. He saw her own unsold canvases stacked against the wall, and suddenly, he understood. His success was a mirror reflecting what she felt she lacked in her own artistic journey. It wasn't that she wished him ill, it was that his light was suddenly so bright it made her feel like she was in shadow. Ben's reaction was more subtle. He started making some more cutting remarks, masked as jokes. "Must be nice not having to worry about a 9 to 5 anymore," he'd say. Or, "Don't forget us little people, when you're famous." He'd always prided himself on being the successful one, the one with the stable career and the clear path. Leo's sudden, massive success, achieved through a less conventional route, seemed to challenge Ben's definition of achievement. It unsettled the hierarchy he had subconsciously built in his own mind. The breaking point came at Leo's book launch party. It was a glittering event, filled with agents, editors, and literary critics. Maya and Ben were there, standing awkwardly in a corner. Leo, flushed with success and surrounded by new faces, went over to them, wanting to share his big moment with his oldest friends. "Can you believe this?" Leo said, gesturing around the room. Maya took a sip of her champagne. It's all very, you, Leo? The comment hung there, laced with the bitterness he couldn't ignore. Ben looked at his watch. Well, we should probably get going. Big day at the office tomorrow. You know how it is. And just like that, they left. They left him in the middle of his own party, in the middle of his greatest triumph. Standing there, watching them walk away, Leo felt a profound sadness that eclipsed the joy of the evening. He realized the support he thought was unconditional had been conditional all along. They were happy to support the struggling artist, the underdog. It made them feel good, needed, perhaps even a little superior. But the successful author, that was a different story. That person didn't need them in the same way, and his success highlighted their own insecurities and stalled dreams. It was a painful lesson. The people you climb the mountain with are always the ones who will celebrate with you at the summit. Sometimes, your success is a lonely peak. Leo learned that true friends aren't just there for your struggles. They're the ones who cheer loudest when you succeed, without their own reflection getting in the way. He cherished the new friendships he was making, but a part of him would always mourn the trio that got lost on the way to the top. The journey taught him that, sometimes, the biggest challenge isn't achieving your dream, but navigating the world after it comes true. Thank you so much for watching. It's a tough lesson, but an important one. If you've ever experienced something like this, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing for more. See you next time.